Ah, my dear, sit down, sit down. Don't make me stand here like some old preacher at a pulpit. At 80 years old, these legs of mine can still hold me up, but they prefer a good chair, preferably with a cushion and maybe a glass of iced tea within reach. You're 60 now, and I remember when I was 60. Oh, I thought I had it all figured out. Bread was on my plate 3 times a day. Sometimes 4, if you count late-night snacking. You laugh, but it's true. At night, when the house was quiet and everyone was asleep, I'd tiptoe into the kitchen and slice myself a piece of whatever loaf was on the counter. Sometimes white, sometimes sweet raisin bread, sometimes those soft dinner rolls. And I'll be honest, the taste was heavenly. But heavenly taste doesn't mean heavenly results, my friend. I learned the hard way that bread can either keep you standing tall or bring you down faster than gravity. And let me tell you, after 65, it's not just about satisfying your hunger. It's about protecting your joints, your heart, your sugar levels, and even your energy. You want to keep up with your grandkids, don't you? You want to get up in the morning without your knees sounding like a popcorn machine? Well then, you and I need to talk about bread. Because bread is sneaky. It's either your ally or your enemy. There's no in between. Now, before I dive into the 5 worst breads you should never touch and the 5 breads you must enjoy daily, let me tell you a story. You know me, I can't just throw facts at you like a textbook. Life is about stories, and at 80 years old, I've got more stories than I've got hairs on my head, which isn't saying much anymore. When I was around your age, 60 or so, I had a routine. Every morning, I'd toast 2 slices of white bread, slather on some butter, and top it with strawberry jam. I'd sit by the window, sip my coffee, and tell myself I was living the good life. But slowly, I started noticing things. My energy was dipping by mid-morning. My joints, especially my knees, felt stiff when I got out of bed. I blamed it on age, of course. Isn't that what we all do? Oh, I'm just getting older, I'd say. But the truth was, I was feeding myself bread that had been stripped of all its goodness. White bread, my dear, is like a beautiful liar. It looks good, smells good, feels soft, but it's got nothing inside to back it up. No fiber, no nutrients, just empty promises. And that's when the doctor gave me the wake-up call. Paul, he said, if you keep eating like this, your blood sugar is going to shoot up, your joints are going to suffer, and your energy will drain away. You want to live to see your 80s? Change your bread. Can you imagine? Out of all the things in the world, bread was what threatened to take me down. Not whiskey, not bad habits, bread. That day I started looking at my plate differently. Let's start with the villains, shall we? Because if I can save you from the mistakes I made, then maybe you won't have to sit at 65 wondering why your body feels like it's 85. The first villain, white bread. Oh, how I loved it. Soft, fluffy, perfect for sandwiches. But white bread is stripped of all fiber, all nutrients. What's left is a fast ticket to blood sugar spikes. And those spikes don't just leave you tired later, they also feed inflammation. And inflammation, my dear, is what makes your knees ache in the morning. It's what makes your joints stiff. I used to wake up and blame my old mattress, but it wasn't the mattress. It was that innocent-looking loaf of white bread. Second villain, sugary breads. You know the ones, cinnamon swirl, honey oat, raisin loaves with sugar crusted on top. They taste like dessert, and in truth, they are dessert. They send your sugar flying high and crashing low. I remember one time I ate half a loaf of raisin bread. Don't laugh, I was hungry. And half an hour later, I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. My energy disappeared, my knees swelled up. Sugar is like gasoline poured on the fire of inflammation. At 80, I can feel sugar in my bones, and I don't want you to feel that way when you hit my age. The third villain, cheap white buns and rolls. Oh, those restaurant rolls. They come out warm, they hand you butter, and you think it's harmless, but they're nothing but fluff. No nutrition, just empty calories that settle right on your belly. Belly fat after 65, that's dangerous. It's not just about looks. Belly fat is what wraps around your organs and calls diseases like diabetes and heart trouble to come knocking. When I was 65, I had to loosen my belt one notch. I told myself it was just age, but it was those rolls following me home from every dinner out. Then there are the so-called multigrain loaves. My dear, they are wolves in sheep's clothing. You see multigrain and think you're being healthy. But in truth, many of those loaves are just white bread in disguise, dyed brown with caramel coloring and sprinkled with a few seeds on top for decoration. I fell for that trick, ate it for weeks thinking I was doing myself a favor, until my blood sugar test told me the truth. It was a fraud, plain and simple. And the fifth villain? The processed sandwich breads that last for weeks in the pantry. Bread isn't supposed to live longer than I do. If a loaf can sit on your shelf for 3 weeks without going stale, it's not bread, it's a science project. Preservatives, chemicals, additives, do you really want that inside your 60-year-old body? I once had a loaf that lasted so long, I considered inviting it to family dinners. That's not food, my friend, that's packaging. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, Paul, if all that's bad, what am I supposed to eat? Don't panic, because just like there are villains, there are heroes too. And these breads, the 5 good ones, can keep you feeling strong, steady, and young at heart, even after 65. The first hero, 100% whole grain bread. Not multigrain, not enriched, but true whole grain. It's packed with fiber, which means it keeps your digestion moving and your sugar levels steady. No more sugar roller coasters. When I switched to whole grain, within weeks I noticed a difference. Let's just say my mornings in the bathroom were smoother, if you know what I mean. At our age, that's worth celebrating. Second, sourdough. Oh, sourdough is a blessing. That tangy taste comes from fermentation, and fermentation makes it easier to digest. The good bacteria in sourdough are like little repairmen working inside your gut. They reduce inflammation, they balance your digestion, and they make bread taste like heaven. Ever since I added sourdough to my diet, I've felt lighter, less bloated, and my joints don't complain as much. And between you and me, sourdough makes the best grilled cheese in the world. Third, rye bread. Rye is hearty, filling, and doesn't spike your sugar levels. It keeps you full for hours, which means you're not raiding the fridge every hour like a teenager. Rye became my ally when I realized I needed steady energy, not quick bursts. And let me tell you, a slice of rye with avocado on top is better than half the meals I used to eat in my youth. Fourth, Ezekiel bread, sprouted grain bread. It's practically a multivitamin baked into a loaf, full of amino acids, nutrients, and protein. Every bite feels like you're fueling your body with something real. When people ask me how I'm still walking without a cane at 80, I tell them it's not just luck, it's Ezekiel bread. And yes, a bit of stubbornness too. And the fifth hero, oat bread. Oats are gentle but powerful. They lower cholesterol, they soothe inflammation, and they keep your heart healthy. Oat bread in the morning, toasted with almond butter, became my little ritual. It kept me full, satisfied, and gave me energy without the crash. At 80, that's what I need. And trust me, you do too. So, there you have it. 5 breads to avoid like the plague, and 5 breads to embrace like old friends. But let me pause here, because this is important. If you're still with me, nodding your head, maybe even glancing guiltily at the bread on your counter, and I've done my job. But before I go on, I need to ask you for a favor. If you're enjoying this little bread sermon, give this channel a like. Drop a comment down below about your favorite bread memory. Was it your grandmother's homemade loaf, or maybe that bakery you used to visit as a kid? And don't forget to subscribe. At 80 years old, I never thought I'd be telling stories on the internet, but here I am. And every like, every comment, every subscriber keeps me going, makes me feel young again, like I'm still part of something bigger. Now, let me tell you why this matters so much. Bread isn't just food, it's culture, it's memory, it's family. Every loaf has a story. But if you want to live long enough to keep telling your stories, you have to choose wisely. Every slice is either helping you or hurting you. And my dear, I want you to live long enough to sit at 80 like me, laughing, telling stories, and warning someone younger about the dangers of the wrong loaf of bread.
Now, where was I? Ah, yes, bread, the love of our lives and the thorn in our sides. You see, my dear, once I learned the difference between the bad breads and the good ones, life started changing in small but powerful ways. At first, it was subtle. My mornings felt lighter. I could get out of bed without that symphony of cracks and pops in my knees. I even noticed my mind felt sharper. I wasn't foggy by noon anymore. And you know what else? My mood improved. Who'd have thought bread could make a grumpy old man cheerful again? But it did. Because when your body isn't fighting inflammation all the time, when your blood sugar is steady, when your gut isn't bloated, you start to feel like yourself again. You start to feel alive. I remember one morning I was standing in the kitchen buttering a slice of rye bread. My granddaughter walked in, looked at me and said, "Grandpa, you look happy today." And I laughed because, truth be told, it was just a slice of bread. But that bread represented something bigger. It was me taking care of myself, choosing wisely, and it was showing. That's the power of food. It's never just food. It's the fuel for the machine. And if you're still driving the same body at 60, you better believe the kind of fuel you put in matters more than ever. But let me take you back again, because I want you to understand how far I've come. When I was 65, I thought aches, pains, and fatigue were simply old age. I thought, this is just how it is. But I was wrong. And I realized how wrong I was the day I went to the park with my grandkids. They wanted to play tag. Me? Tag? I thought, sure, I can manage that. 2 minutes in, I was out of breath, my knees were screaming, and I had to sit on the bench pretending I was letting them win. Truth was, I couldn't keep up. That night, as I rubbed my knees with ointment, I thought to myself, Paul, this isn't just old age, this is bread age. And I decided to change. The first thing I did was clean out my pantry. Out went the white bread, the sugary loaves, the long-lasting chemical experiments, the fake multigrains, and those fluffy restaurant rolls I used to bring home in doggy bags. Oh, it hurt, my dear. It felt like breaking up with an old lover. Bread and I had been together a long time, but sometimes love isn't good for you. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to what's comfortable if you want to stay alive. And I wasn't ready to check out yet. I had too many stories left to tell, too many sunsets to see, too many grandkids to embarrass with my jokes. Replacing bad bread with good bread was not just about health. It was about reclaiming my dignity. When I ate whole grain, rye, sourdough, Ezekiel, or oat bread, I noticed I could walk farther, stand longer, laugh harder. My knees didn't ache as much. My belly didn't balloon up like a parade float. And let me tell you something a little embarrassing. I stopped snoring so much. My wife swore it was the change in diet. I told her it was just my charm coming back, but deep down, I knew she was right. Now, let me tell you a little secret about aging. Every decade feels like a test. In your 40s, it's about energy, keeping up with work and family. In your 50s, it's about balance, work, kids, health, and maybe grandkids coming along. In your 60s, the test becomes about survival. What habits will carry you into your 70s with strength and not sickness? And in your 70s, the test is about resilience. What you did earlier either supports you or drags you down. And here I am in my 80s, looking back at the bread I ate and realizing it made a bigger difference than I ever thought possible. People often ask me, Paul, what's the secret to making it to 80 and still being able to laugh, walk, and tell stories? They expect me to say something profound like yoga or meditation, and those are good. But you know what I tell them? Stop eating bread that kills you and start eating bread that heals you. They laugh, but I'm dead serious. Bread is such a small thing, yet it's on our plates almost every day. That means the wrong bread damages you daily and the right bread heals you daily. Over time, that adds up. Let me tell you about the time I discovered sourdough like it was a long-lost treasure. I walked into a small bakery downtown. The smell was intoxicating, but this time I wasn't looking for white fluff. I asked the baker, "What's your healthiest bread?" He pointed to a crusty sourdough loaf, golden brown with a tangy aroma. I took it home, sliced it, toasted it lightly, and spread a little butter on top. When I bit into it, I swear I heard angels singing. It was tangy, chewy, hearty, satisfying, and for once, after eating bread, I didn't feel heavy or bloated. My energy stayed steady. I thought, where has this been all my life? From that day on, sourdough became my companion. Whenever I wanted comfort, I reached for that tangy loaf. It comforted my belly without punishing my joints. That, my dear, is what bread should do.
And then there was rye. Oh, rye was like the strong, silent type. Heavy, dense, reliable. Rye doesn't play games. One slice and you're full. It's not flashy, but it's steady. And at our age, steady is what we need. No ups and downs, no sugar spikes, no crashes, just reliable fuel. I started making rye sandwiches with avocado, tomato, and a little olive oil. Delicious. And you know what? For the first time in years, I stopped needing an afternoon nap just to make it through the day. Rye carried me through. Now, Ezekiel bread, that one made me laugh. Sprouted grain bread named after a Bible verse. I thought, well, if it's good enough for the good book, it's good enough for me. The first time I tried it, I'll admit, it was a bit dense, but then I realized what it gave me. Protein, fiber, nutrients. It was like a loaf of bread and a multivitamin had a baby. It didn't just fill my stomach, it nourished me. And at 80, nourishment is the key. You can't just fill yourself anymore. You have to fuel yourself. Oat bread. Oh, sweet oat bread. Gentle, comforting, kind. Oats are the kind of friend who hugs you when you're sad and celebrates with you when you're happy. Oat bread lowered my cholesterol, kept my heart steady, and gave me energy without making me jittery. A slice of oat bread in the morning with almond butter became my ritual. And rituals, my dear, are what give life rhythm. At 80, routine is everything. And when your routine includes oat bread, you know you're starting the day on the right foot. Now, I don't want you to think bread is the only thing that matters. No, of course not. But bread is symbolic. It represents the choices we make daily, the habits we hold on to, the comfort we seek. If you choose bad bread, you're choosing convenience over health, lies over truth. But if you choose good bread, you're choosing life, strength, and dignity. That's what it comes down to. I once sat at a family dinner and my son asked me, "Dad, why don't you eat the rolls anymore?" I smiled and said, "Because I love myself too much to eat lies." Everyone laughed, but I meant it. I'm 80 years old, and I've learned that self-love isn't about spa days or fancy vacations. It's about what you put on your plate. It's about saying no to what harms you, even when it tastes good, and yes to what heals you, even when it requires change. That's real love, the kind that keeps you alive long enough to love others fully. My dear, I want you to think about this next time you reach for bread. Ask yourself, is this bread going to carry me to 80 with joy, or will it drag me down before my time? Every bite is a choice, and you deserve to choose life. You deserve to feel strong, to laugh without aches, to walk without groans, to dance without fear. And it all starts with something as simple as bread. Now, if you're still with me, and I hope you are, let me remind you again, like this video if it's making sense to you. Comment below with the kind of bread you grew up on. Was it white, homemade, sourdough? I want to know. And subscribe, because at 80, I've got plenty more stories to share, and I don't want you to miss them. This isn't just about bread, it's about life, and life is sweeter when shared. Before I finish, let me share one last thought. Bread has always been part of human history. It's in our stories, our families, our cultures. Breaking bread means sharing love. But in this modern world, bread has been twisted, processed, stripped, and sold back to us as something it's not. You have to be wise enough to see through the trick. You have to be brave enough to let go of what's easy and embrace what's real. Because real bread, the kind that nourishes, is worth it. And so are you. At 80, I've said goodbye to many things. Friends, family, habits, even some teeth along the way. But I've also said hello to better choices, better health, better days. And bread, believe it or not, was one of the biggest changes I ever made. If I can do it, so can you. And when you do, you'll thank yourself at 70, at 80, maybe even at 90. Imagine that, you and me at 90, laughing about how we used to eat white bread like it was candy. Now that's a future worth choosing. So go on, my dear, make the change. Your 60-year-old self will thank you. Your 70-year-old self will bless you. And your 80-year-old self will sit back like me, telling stories with a smile, strong legs, steady heart, and a clear mind. All because you chose the right bread.